Dear friends, today I take up for discussion a very interesting topic, that is child labor. And you know that it is a global menace. Many countries have been struggling to address this problem, and India has also been leading its all efforts to address the problem of child labor. Let us look at the definition of child labor and how does this problem actually surface, and what have been the steps taken by the governments to root out the problem of child labor. Now see, what is child labor? The term child labor is often defined, as work that deprives children of their childhood, their potential and their dignity, and that is harmful to physical and mental development. So all works being done by the child, which will deprive them of their childhood, which will deprive them of their potential and their dignity, and works that are harmful to their physical and mental development. So if a child does a work which actually deprives him all the benefits, all the enjoyment in his life, then such kind of a labor, such kind of a work can be called as child labor. It refers to work that is mentally, physically, socially, and morally dangerous and harmful to children, or work that interferes with a child's ability to attend and participate in school fully by obliging them to leave school prematurely, or a work that requires them to attempt to combine school attendance with excessively long and heavy work. So if a student attends the school, but at the same time he works in a factory, then that is also an example of child labor, because he is attending the school, of course, that is good, but at the same time, he is also working somewhere. That is also considered as child labor. So, child labor refers to work that is mentally, physically, socially, or morally dangerous and harmful to children, or the work that interferes with a child's ability to attend and participate in school fully by obliging them to leave school prematurely, or the work that requires them to attempt to combine school attendance with excessively long and heavy work. Child labor is not unique to India. It is not seen only in developing economies, found everywhere. It is found in many places in South Africa, South America, and even Europe. Almost half of child labor happens in Africa. 72 million global child laborers are found in Africa, followed by Asia and Pacific. The global figure of child labor stands at 168 million, as per the report of 2012. Globally, agriculture remains by far the most prominent sector where child laborers can be found. Agriculture is a main sector where child laborers are engaged. 98 million child laborers are found in the agriculture sector. And in services, 54 million child laborers are found. Industrial sector, 12 million child laborers are found. And this is found to be the case mostly in the informal economy. So child laborers you can find in the informal economy. There are many interlinked factors contributing to the prevalence of child labor. Child labor is both a cause and consequence of poverty. Household poverty forces children into the labor market to earn money. Some perform child labor to supplement family income, while many others are also in it for survival. So, child labor is a cause of poverty and it's a consequence of poverty. Because of child labor, a household will permanently be in poverty. And if a household is caught up in poverty, then the children may be forced to go for work. So child labor is both a cause and consequence of poverty. And because of child labor, these children miss out on an opportunity to gain on education, further perpetuating household poverty across generations, slowing economic growth and social development. Child labor impedes children from gaining skill and education. They need to have opportunities of decent work as an adult. Inequality, lack of educational opportunities, slow demographic transition, traditions, and cultural expectations all contribute to the presence of child labor in India. Age, sex, ethnicity, caste, and deprivation affect the type and intensity of work that children perform. Agriculture and informal sector employment continue to be sectors where children end up working. Now, International Labour Organization experience is that stable economic growth, respect for labor standard, decent work, universal education, social protection, recognizing the needs and rights of children, all these things together can help tackle the root causes of child labor. So if you put together all these measures, all these things like attaining a stable economic growth, giving respect for labor standard, you must ensure that a product is not produced by the labor but produced by the adult. If you take a decision that you won't purchase a product produced by the children, then that's what's called labor standard. You are looking at labor standard, whether it is produced by the adult labor or the child labor. If it is produced by the child labor, we won't purchase it. So respect for labor standards, decent work, universal education, social protection, recognizing the needs and rights of the children. All these things. If you pursue all these things, if you try to ensure all these things, if you try to give protection to the child, if you try to realize the needs and rights of the children, if you focus on decent work, if you give a universal education to all students, if you stick on to certain labor standards, then you can easily fight the menace of child labor very easily. Now, as per Census 2011, the child population in India in the age group 5 to 14 years is 259.6 million. As per the Census 2011, 259.6 million children coming in the age group 5 to 14 years are considered as child labor in our country. Of these, 10.1 million, that is 3.9% of the total child population, are working either as main worker or as marginal worker. So this shows the seriousness of the problem of child labor in our country. 259.6 million children in the age group 5 to 14 years are working somewhere for a livelihood, are working somewhere, depriving their opportunity to be educated, are working somewhere to find some income for their families. Remember that this is the reported figure, but unreported figure may be a manifold of this. We don't know the unreported figure because many units, many people, they won't be ready to reveal the presence of child labor in their factories. If you ask a child whether he is working or not, probably he would say he is not working because a child is also not ready to say that he is working somewhere instead of going to the schools. So because of underreporting, always we get a very, very less figure of child labor. This is official figure. This is a reported figure that is in our country, 259.6 million children are working and they are not properly being given education and they are struggling a lot to gain some income for the survival of their families. However, the good news is that the incidence of child labor has decreased in India by 2.6 million between 2001 and 2011. It's a good thing that there has been a decline in the presence of child labor in our country. It declined by 2.6 million during the period between 2001 and 2011. However, the decline was more visible in rural areas. This is a very important point. Decline was more visible in rural areas, not in urban areas. That is, the number of child workers has increased in urban areas, indicating the growing demand for child workers in menial jobs. So in India, the rural child labor has come down. That has been reduced, especially during the period between 2001 and 2011. But at the same time, urban child labor has been raised. Child labor has different ramifications in both rural and urban India. 26% of child labor in India work as cultivators. We already pointed out this. Agriculture is the main area where child labor presence could be seen. So 26% of the child labor in India work as cultivators. 32.9% agriculture laborers. 5.2% household industry workers. And 35.8% are working in other field, other workers. So this is the data which shows the exact seriousness, the dangerous phase of the problem of child labor in our country. Now look at the case of the child labor state-wise. You can see that Uttar Pradesh has the largest number of the child labor in our country. 2.18 million child labor could be seen in one state, Uttar Pradesh. That is 21.5% of the child labor in our country can be seen in Uttar Pradesh. Next position goes to Bihar with 10.7% of child labor. In million terms, 1.09 million. Rajasthan comes with third position. 8.4% of the child labor in our country is in Rajasthan, 0.85 million. Maharashtra, the most industrialized state in our country, comes out with 7.2% of the child labor, 0.73 million. Madhya Pradesh with 6.9% of the child labor, that's around 0.70 million. So this is the picture of the child labor, state-wise picture of the child labor in our country. Uttar Pradesh is leading the chart with 21.5% of the child labor, which comes around 2.18 million child labor seen in our country. The Indian government has adopted several laws in the past few decades to combat child labor. We have a lot of laws. These laws include Bonded Labor Abolishment System, Act of 1976, and the Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Amendment Bill of 2016. But the gray side of the story is that despite all these laws, enforcement of these laws, and serious steps on the part of the center and state governments towards addressing the issue of the child labor, the problem still persists in our country, although a decline has been shown in the spread of the child labor during the period between 2001 and 2011. So child labor still continues to be an important issue in Indian economy. Thank you.